What happens when a quiet evening stroll turns into a confrontation with danger? In the small coastal town of Crescent Bay, the serene atmosphere was shattered by the deep, menacing rumble of motorcycles as a group known locally as the Wanderers sped into view. Sarah, visibly pregnant and radiating a gentle aura of anticipation for the child she would soon bring into the world, was suddenly surrounded by the bikers. Their leader, a large man with a scar running down his left cheek, sneered as he stepped forward, trapping her against the railing overlooking the beach. "What's a pretty little thing like you doing out here all alone?" he taunted, his voice laced with menace. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. The situation seemed desperate. Just as the tension reached its peak, another motorcycle cut through the group, a figure broad-shouldered and imposing. It was Jack, Sarah's husband, who had just returned from a deployment with the Navy SEALs. Jack's arrival changed the dynamics instantly. His calm yet unmistakable resolve was evident as he removed his helmet and approached. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his voice cool and controlled, but with an undercurrent of danger that was not to be ignored. The bikers, sensing the seriousness and the potential for a real confrontation, began to reconsider their stance. The leader tried to maintain his bravado. "Just having a little chat," he muttered, but the confidence was gone from his voice. Jack moved protectively in front of Sarah, his stance firm. "The chat's over," he declared. "I suggest you leave before this gets ugly." His words were not just a suggestion but a clear warning, the kind that promised action if not heeded. Faced with Jack's unwavering stance, the bikers slowly backed off, their leader sending a lingering, hateful glance towards the couple before signaling his gang to depart. As the rumble of the motorcycles faded into the distance, Jack turned to Sarah, his concern immediate and palpable. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. The night could have ended differently, but for Sarah, Jack's timely arrival was a reminder of the security and love that awaited her at home. With the bikers gone, they walked back, hand in hand, the encounter leaving a shadow over what had been a peaceful evening. But as they reached their doorstep, Sarah paused and looked up at Jack with gratitude. "You always show up just when I need you most," she said. Jack pulled her close, his whisper barely audible above the whispering sea breeze, "and I always will." Together they stepped inside, resolved more than ever to ensure their town remained a safe haven, not just for them but for everyone who called Crescent Bay home. As they stepped inside their cozy home, Sarah and Jack couldn't shake off the evening's unsettling events. Over a warm cup of tea in their softly lit living room, they began to delve deeper into what had transpired. "It's not just about us, Jack," Sarah said, her voice tinged with concern. "If those bikers are bold enough to harass a pregnant woman, who knows what else they're capable of?" Jack nodded, his brow furrowed in thought. "You're right. We need to do something about this. The whole community could be at risk." The next morning, Jack reached out to some of his contacts in the local police department. Meanwhile, Sarah posted on the community online forum, sharing her experience and urging her neighbors to be vigilant and report any suspicious activities. The response was overwhelming. Many shared their own encounters with the Wanderers, expressing gratitude for bringing the issue to light and a readiness to stand together. Motivated by the community's support, Jack and Sarah organized a town meeting. Held in the local community center, it was well attended, with residents from all walks of life eager to discuss ways to enhance safety. Ideas flowed, from increasing police patrols to establishing a neighborhood watch program. The atmosphere was charged with a proactive spirit, and Jack felt a surge of pride as he watched Sarah passionately advocate for stronger community ties. "We can't let fear dictate our lives," Sarah exclaimed, her voice resonant and compelling. The room erupted in applause, the community's resolve strengthening. A committee was formed that evening, with Jack and Sarah volunteering to lead the neighborhood watch. Plans were set into motion, schedules made, and responsibilities assigned. The town of Crescent Bay was taking back its streets, and the message was clear: intimidation and harassment would not be tolerated. As weeks turned into months, the changes became evident. The increased police presence and the vigilant eyes of the neighborhood watch curtailed the bikers' harassment. Stories of the wanderers' dwindling bravado became the new norm, as they encountered resistance instead of fear from the empowered residents. One evening, while walking the same promenade where she had been harassed, Sarah felt a profound sense of peace. The sea breeze no longer carried whispers of fear, but murmurs of security and community strength. She rubbed her belly, smiling down at the gentle kicks of her unborn child, grateful for the safety that now enveloped her town. "We did it, didn't we?" she murmured to herself, feeling the comforting presence of Jack beside her. "Yes, we did," Jack replied, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "Together, we made it happen." The couple walked on, their steps light and hopeful, their hearts full of love for each other and their community, ready to welcome their child into a safe and caring world. As the months passed, the spirit of unity and vigilance in Crescent Bay only grew stronger. The community, once passive observers, were now active participants in safeguarding their town. The neighborhood watch, under Jack and Sarah's leadership, flourished, fostering a new culture of cooperation and mutual support. The meetings, once filled with reports of fear and intimidation, now buzzed with stories of small victories and communal achievements. One crisp autumn evening, as the town prepared for its annual fall festival, Sarah, now just weeks away from giving birth, felt a deep connection to the community she and Jack had helped transform. The festival, a celebration of the harvest and the coming together of families, had an added significance this year. It was not just a celebration of seasonal change, but a testament to the resilience and unity of Crescent Bay. During the festival, Sarah watched as children darted between stalls, their laughter mingling with the music and chatter of the gathering crowd. Jack, ever the attentive husband, stayed close, his presence a comforting constant. As they walked past booths offering everything from homemade pies to handcrafted jewelry, they were greeted warmly by many familiar faces. "You've really turned things around here," an elderly neighbor commented, patting Jack on the back. "We feel safer because you cared enough to step up." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the festival, the mayor of Crescent Bay took to the stage to address the community. "Tonight, we celebrate more than the season," he began, his voice carrying over the crowd. "We celebrate the strength and courage of our own citizens. People like Jack and Sarah, who showed us that by standing together, we can overcome any adversity." The crowd erupted in applause, and Sarah felt her cheeks warm with pride. Jack squeezed her hand, their shared glance one of mutual respect and love. As the applause died down, the mayor continued, "Let this festival not only be a reminder of what we have achieved, but also a commitment to continue protecting and supporting one another." The festival ended with a spectacular display of fireworks, lighting up the night sky in bursts of color, each explosion a punctuation of Crescent Bay's renewed spirit. Sarah leaned against Jack, her heart full. The fear that once threatened her peace was now replaced by a fierce determination to maintain the safety and love of this community. Weeks later, in the quiet of the early morning, Sarah went into labor. It was a peaceful process, with Jack by her side, and soon they welcomed a beautiful baby boy into their lives. They named him Michael, a name that meant "who is like God," as a symbol of hope and strength. As they introduced Michael to their community, Sarah and Jack felt a profound sense of accomplishment. They had not only ensured a safer world for their son, but had also ignited a flame of community spirit that would guide him as he grew. Looking out over Crescent Bay, with Michael cradled in her arms, Sarah felt a deep sense of peace. "We've done well, haven't we?" she whispered to Jack, who was watching them with a tender gaze. "We've done more than that," Jack replied, his voice thick with emotion. "We've started something that will last generations." Together they stood, a family united, a community reborn, and a future brightly lit with hope and promise. Life in Crescent Bay thrived as the seasons changed, with the community's spirit growing even stronger. Jack and Sarah, now not just community leaders but new parents, found great joy in their dual roles. Their son, Michael, grew under the loving gaze of not just his parents, but an entire town that had come together to ensure his safe and happy upbringing. Jack continued to work closely with the local police, ensuring that the strategies implemented to keep the town safe were always evolving and improving. Meanwhile, Sarah, who had started a blog about community safety and parenting, found herself becoming an inspiration to other towns across the country. Her posts, filled with personal anecdotes and practical advice, resonated with many, spreading the spirit of Crescent Bay far and wide. As Michael's first birthday approached, the community planned a celebration that was to double as a fundraiser for the local children's park renovations. The festival-like atmosphere was palpable, with stalls, games, and activities designed for families. It was not just a birthday party, it was a celebration of community and childhood, embodying the town's journey and its hopes for the next generation. During the celebration, Jack took a moment to speak to the gathered crowd, his voice brimming with pride. A year ago, we celebrated our strength and unity at the Fall Festival, and today, we celebrate not just Michael's first year of life, but our continuous commitment to making Crescent Bay a place where families can thrive. Sarah, holding Michael, added, "Each of you has played a part in making our town what it is today. This celebration is as much for you as it is for Michael. Thank you for helping us raise our son in a community that cares so deeply." The event was a huge success, raising more than enough funds to revamp the park. The project was completed with features that included safe, modern play equipment, beautiful landscaping, and areas designed for community gatherings. It was a place that symbolized the town's rebirth, a space for connection, growth, and joy. Years passed, and Michael grew into a curious and energetic child, his upbringing infused with the values of community, safety, and mutual respect. He attended the local school, where the lessons of his parents and the ethos of Crescent Bay were echoed by teachers and fellow students alike. On a clear and crisp morning, as Sarah watched Michael play with friends in the newly renovated park, she reflected on the journey they had all taken together. The challenges they had faced seemed distant now, overshadowed by the successes and the strong bonds that had been forged. She turned to Jack, who was chatting with other parents, his laughter mingling with the joyful noise of playing children. "Look at what we've built," she said to him when he joined her on the bench. Jack looked around, his eyes reflecting the vibrant life around them. "It's more than I ever hoped for," he replied, his hand finding hers. "And it's just the beginning. Who knows what the future holds for Michael and the next generation?" With a contented sigh, Sarah leaned against him, watching their son play. "Whatever it is, I know it will be bright. After all, he has an entire community to help him along the way, just like we did." Together they sat in peaceful contemplation, their hearts full, their community united, and their future promising, wrapped in the certainty that Crescent Bay was not just a place on a map, but a beacon of hope and community spirit. As Michael grew, so did Crescent Bay. The once small, quiet town had blossomed into a model community, renowned for its safety, unity, and the deep sense of belonging it fostered among its residents. Sarah and Jack, once the catalysts for change, now watched with pride as new leaders emerged, each bringing fresh ideas and perspectives that continued to enrich the town. Michael, a bright and observant boy, took after his parents in more ways than one. His 8th birthday was approaching, and he had a special request. Instead of a party for himself, he wanted to organize a community cleanup day. "I want to help make the town even nicer," he explained earnestly one evening at dinner. "And I think it would be a cool way to celebrate with everyone." Touched by his thoughtfulness, Sarah and Jack supported his idea wholeheartedly. They spread the word, and when the day arrived, dozens of families gathered, equipped with gloves, bags, and an array of cleaning tools. They divided into groups, targeting different areas of the town. Michael led a group himself, his young voice full of authority and excitement as he directed his friends and their parents. By the end of the day, the town was spotless. The community gathered in the park for a picnic, sharing food and stories, laughing over the day's exertions. The mayor, always a supporter of community initiatives, made a surprise announcement. In honor of Michael's birthday and his wonderful idea, we're going to make this an annual event, he declared, prompting cheers from the crowd. As Michael blew out the candles on his cake later that afternoon, surrounded by friends and family, he felt a surge of happiness and pride. "This was the best birthday ever," he exclaimed, his eyes sparkling with joy. Years continued to pass, and the annual clean-up day became a cherished tradition in Crescent Bay. Michael grew into a teenager, his early leadership skills maturing as he took on more responsibilities within the community. He became a junior member of the Neighborhood Watch, a role he took seriously, often patrolling with Jack, who shared his knowledge and experience generously. One evening, as they walked through the neighborhood, Jack spoke to Michael about the importance of their work. "What we're doing isn't just about keeping the streets safe," he said thoughtfully. "It's about showing that we care about our town and each other. It's about building something that lasts." Michael nodded, understanding the weight of his father's words. "I know, Dad, and I'm proud to be part of it. I want to help keep this going, even when I'm old enough to go to college. Crescent Bay is home." As they returned home, Sarah was waiting with news. "The community center is starting a new youth program, and they want you to help lead it, Michael," she said with a smile. Michael's face lit up with excitement. "Really? That would be amazing." The program was a success, drawing in young people from around the town, engaging them in activities that taught them about leadership, responsibility, and community service. Michael thrived as a mentor, his enthusiasm and dedication inspiring his peers. Watching their son grow into a thoughtful, committed young leader, Sarah and Jack realized that their efforts had not only transformed their town, but had also set the foundation for the next generation to continue building on. They looked at each other, their hearts full of love and pride, knowing that the legacy they had started would live on through Michael and all the young people of Crescent Bay who were learning to love and care for their community just as much as they did. Join us in celebrating the power of community, the strength of resolve, and the impact one family can make. This story is not just about overcoming adversity, but about planting seeds of change that blossom into a legacy of love and protection. It's a testament to what can be achieved when we stand together. Thumbs up like if you believe in the power of community. Speech balloon share this story to spread the message of unity and courage. Play button, subscribe for more heartwarming tales. Bell, don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest posts. Join the conversation and tell us about the heroes in your community. Let's inspire each other with acts of courage and unity. Sparkles.